With just a short number of days to go until the release of Indiana Jones 5, The Dial of Destiny on June 30th, there's a lot of growing fans around the world really revolting and going away from this movie and wanting nothing to do with it, really having no interest in this film based on what has been described about all the confirmed Indy 5 leaks and the spoilers that we've talked about, as well as the horrible press that was being done by people out there like Phoebe Waller-Bridge, downplaying and mocking the fans, as well as Kathleen Kennedy doing the same in the process. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future updates. I'm also on Twitter at Mike01. I thank you all so very much for the great and kind support, and let's get right into the situation. Now, we know that Disney CEO Bob Iger has not been having a good year this year. 2023 has been the most difficult year for him, not just because of Elemental, Indy 5 so far, as well as The Little Mermaid, but it also has much to do with the Galactic Star Cruiser Hotel shutting down this September and how it's going to be bulldozed in less than a year and trying to figure out exactly what's going to take its place. Now, moving forward to what Bob Iger had to say that I believe is just absolutely insane, and it just proves to us that he's losing his mind as much as Kathleen Kennedy, where he talks about the backlash, he talks about what he likes to call the Indy 5 boycott, quote-unquote, even though I think it's not technically a boycott if people just have no interest in this movie, flat out, period, but I digress. Let's get right into what Bob Iger had to say. Now, we know one thing about Bob Iger is that he always likes to point fingers at scenarios that have nothing to do with a specific consequence. Now, with Kathleen Kennedy and others promoting Indy 5 as of late, recently Disney CEO Bob Iger went on to discuss the current state of Indy 5, The Dial of Destiny, to the public by stating the following. We have been made aware about the lack of fan interest in our latest film in the Indiana franchise, making wrong, premature assumptions about the film before it even arrives. Between the false box office projections and members of the community that support the Indy franchise convincing each other not to attend, to us is purely a minority, and we take none of those into account. It has, however, forced us to make it known to the public that everything everyone has heard about this film underperforming is absolutely false, and not in the slightest true. We here at Disney are all about providing proper experiences to multiple fandoms around the globe, and for the minority trying to take down a wonderful film created by James Mangold, perhaps they shouldn't see the film like this anyway. Sure, we got some negative press from Cannes Film Festival, and we would be lying if we weren't aware of that, but that in no way tells us anything about a performance of a film in the States for the entire world. Now guys, let me pause here for a second why I think Iger is just purely insane here. They were counting on the Hollywood critics to rave about this movie, to give it like an A+, or like in the 90% realm on Rotten Tomatoes, and they got the complete opposite. Even Hollywood critics hate this movie, and if they love this movie, they're just saying it's an okay film, or it's a good movie. You know, being very soft and, you know, being very kind of safe with the reviews is a better term, I guess you could say. The good reviewers are saying, you know, it's a fun ride, but, you know, it feels like it's lost the magic, blah, 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 right? And that it's a little bit better than Crystal Skull. That's a lot of what the good reviews say. The other bad reviews are all about how Phoebe Waller-Bridge is, yes, insufferable in this movie. She leads the way, she calls the shots, she makes all the decisions. So the Hollywood critics are really not giving any kind of pass for Indy 5 at all in the slightest so far. I'm seeing a lot of negative reviews lately. Everything related to the top critics in the media realm as well. So there's a lot of problems arising out of that. Right now on Rotten Tomatoes, even with the Hollywood critics, even though it's not that much just yet, there's still only like 120 or 118 reviews on there. It's now bumped up to 61%, as opposed to, what was it, like 50 something, like 55, give or take. But moving on to the next thing that Iger had to state is this. We are projecting that this film will double the budget we put into this massive film that cost us around $300 million. We see ourselves gaining double that domestic alone. And worldwide, we are projecting triple the numbers from the 300 million range. We have no worries about the Dial of Destiny. Much like Star Wars, this is a franchise that spans multiple generations, and we have no concerns about its performance. Though this film may not be catered to the dedicated fans, we want to gravitate toward new fans as well by introducing a new generation of characters to be introduced in this film. We have no doubts also that we will be receiving positive reviews from our audience members once the film comes June 30th. Again, Iger, you're insane. You don't know what you're talking about. I highly doubt this movie's gonna get double the budget of the $300 million range. So basically that means what he's saying is that this movie, domestic alone, is going to get 600 million. Alright, that's domestic. And then he's thinking that it's going to get triple that worldwide. Total. I think that's just purely insane. I don't see it happening at all, especially with other movies out there flopping like The Flash, Fast X, and even their latest movies that are associated with Disney are Elemental and The Little Mermaid. Even though Little Mermaid was more of the higher performer, Elemental was like the true disaster for Disney, and we're thinking that Indy 5 might even be on par with Elemental. It could very well be on par with that, if not worse. It really depends. Now, the biggest telltale sign about here that Iger is doing heavy damage control is that he is calling the fans that want nothing to do with this movie a minority. It is not a minority in the slightest at all. You gotta take into account that there are hardcore fans of the Indiana Jones franchise, much like Star Wars fans, and then you have just regular moviegoers that know nothing about Indiana Jones, that see Harrison Ford on screen and they're like, oh look, it's Harrison Ford in a new movie, let's go check it out. You know, let's have a nice weekend, let's go check that movie out, see how it is. And these are the type of moviegoers that know nothing about Temple of Doom, The Last Crusade, Raiders of the Lost Ark, or even, you know, the Crystal Skull film. Alright, so that's what they're really banking on. They're banking on those audience members. They're banking on those people to give this movie excellent reviews. And that is going to be interesting come June 30th and 2 weeks into July. We'll be talking about this every day, tracking that, because that's going to really determine Kathleen Kennedy's stage at Lucasfilm. You know, we've talked about this. There is a firing plan depending on the success and or failure of this film, but my biggest skepticism about that has been, what does Disney really consider bad statistics or numbers, right? Or whatever have you, related to Indy 5. You know, what do they really consider bad? That's going to be bad enough to kick Kathleen Kennedy out of Lucasfilm and get somebody in that's also on the list. You know, we have people like Neil H. Moritz, Dana Brunetti, and even, of course, Simon Kinberg. Those are the top 3 right now on the list to take over as president of Lucasfilm, and the list is growing every single week. So overall, guys, I would love to hear your take on this below in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys next time.
From night to moon,